Today I'm talking about 3 iconic 90s films about trans people. And the names of those 3 films are Boys Don't Cry, My Life in Pink, and The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. First up is Boys Don't Cry. This is a 1999 film starring Hilary Swank. Hilary plays this 19-year-old boy who just wants to do what the majority of 19-year-olds want to do, and that is get drunk and have sex. Unfortunately, he lives in rural Nebraska. Thankfully, though, Brandon, Hilary's character, passes as male, so the majority of the time, he's actually totally fine. The issue more so stems from when he tries to have sex. Bad things can happen. The movie's great though. I really loved this movie. This is based off a true story, which I didn't actually realize until the end credits when they started being like, oh, this is what happened to this person. I was like, oh, okay. And I looked into it a little bit and they did change a couple of things, but I'm more or less okay with the changes that they made because the story itself is so good. One of the changes, I won't say exactly what it was, but basically it just kind of gave more of a sliver of hope, which is something the audience definitely needs in the second half of this film because it gets real dark and real messed up. So the audience needs that thing to kind of hold on to get through the second half of the film. Because without that, I don't know if I could have finished watching this movie because it gets so intense. But the film's great. It's really hard to talk about it though because it's just like a lot of sad things happening. But it was done really well. So yes, I without a doubt love this movie, without a doubt recommend it, though definitely cautiously because I can't undersell enough how intense this movie gets in the latter half. And I can definitely understand not wanting to watch the really intense, depressing stuff that happens in the second half of this film. But it is definitely a very good, very important movie that should be watched and understood. But yeah, really good, definitely worth a watch. Next up is My Life in Pink, or in French, Ma Vie en Rose, something like that. This is a 1997 French film about a little girl whose family and community are very dead set on making sure that she is a boy, but she knows who she is deep down and tooth and nail fights against it because like she'll try to do the boy things and it's just like it just feels wrong to her, and that totally makes sense. The movie's great. It's much more lighthearted and way less dark than the previous movie. An element of it that I really love is that since it's a 7-year-old girl at the forefront of this film, there are lots of moments where things get kind of dark, and so she escapes into her mind and goes into kind of a fantastical world. She has this love of this soap opera, and so she kind of fantasizes about being friends with the lead of the soap opera. Understandably so. I definitely did similar things at that age, so those moments were really fun. I found it interesting too, reading through some of the IMDb reviews from way back when, one of which criticized the over-the-top way in which the town responded to this little girl as being unrealistic, and I wholeheartedly disagree. Like, especially in the 90s, if there was a little trans girl running around, people would not be happy about it and want to get rid of them. Even still today, you find the wrong community, especially any rural community, that kid is not in for a good time. So yeah, no, that person's just wrong. This movie is great. It has the right ending. It's a beautiful, lovely, cute little movie that I thoroughly enjoyed and would definitely recommend. And I would probably more so recommend it over Boys Don't Cry, even though Boys Don't Cry is better. This one is much more easy to get into and a lot less depressing. Like, it does have sad moments, but like, it's definitely not as sad or intense as Boys Don't Cry. So yeah, more easy to get into. But both are definitely worth a watch. And lastly is The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. This is a 1994 Australian film starring Hugo Weaving, Guy Pearce, and Terence Stamp. And the basic premise is that trio plays a group of drag queens who are on a cross-country trip from Sydney to Alice Springs, the city in like the central middle of nowhere part of Australia. So it's basically just a road trip movie, except with a bunch of queens. And it's great. It's really fun. I in particular loved how all three of the leads are very different and unique characters. Hugo's definitely like the lead, but he doesn't like try to steal the spotlight from everyone. They all balance and bounce off each other really, really well. I definitely loved Guy Pearce as like the more flamboyant, like strong, boisterous, out there one. But if it was just him on his own, that would get old fast. And so they did a very good job with that. If I was gonna complain about anything, it's more so that the film just kind of wanders. It definitely has a through line and to a point, but it just kind of lays about doing whatever they want to do, which is definitely what the characters are. It's just I like a little bit more direction. But don't get me wrong, I really like this film. That's definitely more of a nitpicky thing. The only other thing that I would complain about is one scene that I knew about going into the film involving poop, and I had a feeling I wasn't going to like it even in the context of the film, and I definitely still did not like it in the context of the film. I don't think it really added anything to the story. I just think it was there to be a weird, strange thing that this character does, and it's, yeah, no, I really didn't like it, and I definitely would remove it. Regardless though, this movie is great. It's a lot of fun. It's silly. There's definitely heart to it. It just doesn't quite reach the same highs as the other two films, but it's definitely still a really good film and worth a watch. And the main cast is great. Also, the costumes in it are incredible. My favorite one in particular is the one that Guy Pearce wears. It's a wig made of plastic straws. It's incredible. Hopefully I can find a picture of it because that prop definitely deserves lots of praise. So yeah, definitely a good film. Again, also worth a watch. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Boys Don't Cry sitting at number in the really like section. And then after that is My Life in Pink sitting at number 25, also in the really like section. And then bringing up the rear right behind that is The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, sitting at number 26, also in the really like section. And this is out of a total of 111 old movies so far this year.